You thought that Sheikh Hasina, the former Prime Minister of Bangladesh, who was forced out just 2 months ago, was the worst female dictator of this decade? Then, you haven't met Samia Suluhu Hassan, Tanzania's current president. People online call her Idi Amin Mama, and for good reason. She's cold, she's cruel, she's ruthless. Just like Uganda's former dictator, Idi Amin Dada. And power isn't just something she holds, it's something she hungers for, and she'll crush anyone who dares to stand in her way. Right now, she's arguably the most feared female dictator the world over. But it wasn't always like this. When she took power in March 2021, and not by election by the way, Samia seemed different. Calm, diplomatic, even motherly. Her soft voice and reconciliatory tone made people believe Tanzania had finally found a nurturing leader after years of Magufuli's iron rule. So, what happened? How did this calm and smiling figure morph into a cold, calculating ruler who now tolerates no opposition, no dissent, and no free thought? Was it fear of losing control, or was it a transformation planned from the beginning? Let's find out. In March 2021, Tanzania's then president, John Pombe Magufuli, died from a reported heart attack. Constitutionally, Vice President Samia Suluhu Hassan ascended to power, becoming the nation's first female president. Immediately, she painted herself as a reformer, the antidote to Magufuli's hardline style. Soft-spoken, diplomatic, promising to lead Tanzania through her 4 R's philosophy: reconciliation, resilience, reforms, and rebuilding. And she began by lifting bans on opposition rallies, freeing political prisoners, relaxing media restrictions, and even extending an olive branch to the main opposition leader, Tundu Lissu, who had survived an assassination attempt in 2017 by Magufuli. For a while, the world applauded her. Lissu called her a stateswoman, while US Vice President Kamala Harris hailed her as a champion of democracy.
I think the first 100 days of Mama Samia Suluhu Hassan's administration have been, on the whole, positive.
Amnesty International praised the early reforms. Moreover, foreign investors who had fled Magufuli's aggressive tax regime began returning. For the first time in years, Tanzania's future looked bright. But guess what? That illusion didn't last. By 2023, the mask cracked. The real Samia Suluhu began to emerge. With just 2 years to the election, the opposition started demanding that she honor her promises, especially calls for an independent electoral commission and deeper reforms. They called out the president for corruption and backtracking on her word. But instead of embracing the criticism, Samia saw it as a threat. And what followed was a wave of terror that have lasted to date. Forced disappearances, abductions, trumped up charges, acid attacks, political assassination, you name them. A new dark chapter had begun. Take Edgar Sativa Mokabela, a popular Tanzanian activist on X. He was abducted, tortured, and shot in the head, allegedly by a government-linked death squad. Miraculously, he survived.
Napigwa, nikaanza kubuuzwa, nikakokotwa mpaka ndani ya msitu huko. Baada ya muda, wale wawili tulioacha kwenye gari. Baada ya muda nikasikia kama command imetoka kule kwenye gari kule chini. Piga chuma. Ndio ile nikapigwa risasi ya kichwa. Niliingia hapa.
Even men of God were not saved in this patch. Bishop Josephat Gwajima, founder of the Glory of Christ Church, one of Tanzania's largest Pentecostal churches, became a marked man after publicly condemning disappearances. His church was deregistered and over 2,000 of its branches were shut down across the country. Father Charles Kitima, a prominent Catholic cleric, was attacked by unknown assailants at his parish in Dar es Salaam. He survived, but barely. Samia's biggest victim is Tundu Lissu, her fiercest rival and main opposition figure, who has been behind bars for months now on fictitious treason charges. His trial has reportedly been adjourned more than 10 times, a move widely seen as a calculated effort to keep him silenced throughout the election period. Meanwhile, his party Chadema has been banned from participating in the upcoming polls, after the country's electoral body accused them of failing to sign a so-called mandatory code of conduct agreement. With Tanzania heading to the general elections on October 29, and Lissu effectively out of the picture, guess who Samia is running against? Her damn shadow, Yes, the president is running against herself. It's no wonder that a viral meme now circulates across social media, showing the ballot paper with only one real choice: Samia Suluhu Hassan, repeated under different names. And don't get it twisted, there may be other candidates on the ballot, but they are political lightweights. None of them pose any real threat or offer a meaningful alternative. But it gets worse. Lissu's close ally, Ali Kibao, was abducted by men in uniform in September 2024. The next day, his lifeless body was found, beaten, his face burned with acid, his body dumped like trash. Samia condemned the murder, but quickly blocked independent investigations. Then there is Humphrey Polepole, a former CCM party official and Tanzania's ex-ambassador to Cuba. Once a loyal insider, he turned critic after denouncing Samia's growing authoritarianism. A few weeks ago, he was abducted from his home by police officers, and to this day, his whereabouts remain unknown.
Amwachie mwanangu kama yuko hai. Kama hayuko hai, aniletee nimzike mwenyewe. Aniletee mwanangu nizike mwenyewe.
And Samia Suluhu might be a tyrant, but she's not foolish. Her brutality might be obvious inside Tanzania, but to the outside world, is carefully hidden behind a wall of censorship and propaganda. Independent journalism has been systematically dismantled. Only pro-government media houses are allowed to operate freely, while those that question authority face shutdowns, intimidations, or arrests. Even Twitter, or X, which has become the biggest political revolutionary tool of the century, has been blocked for months, silencing voices that once challenged power in real time. Meanwhile, Tanzania's music and entertainment industry has been turned into an arm of state propaganda. BET nominated artists like Diamond and Zuchu have been either forced or willingly chosen to praise Samia Suluhu, portraying her as a visionary leader. But for those who dare to speak truth to power, the punishment is swift and merciless. Take Newa Mitego, a rapper who was arrested but later released after releasing a track titled Nitasema, which raised concerns over human rights issues in Tanzania, including allegations of government involvement in kidnappings and killings. Even Roma Mkatoliki, another rapper now exiled in the US after being abducted and tortured during Magufuli's reign, wasn't spared. In 2025, his song Teremsha Bunduki, meaning lower the gun, was banned for allegedly containing inciting and misleading lyrics. Its message? A plea for the government to stop using violence against the opposition. And then there is Shedrack Chaula, a painter and TikTok creator who disappeared a year ago after filming himself burning a portrait of Samia Suluhu. He was accused of cyber harassment. His whereabouts remain unknown. But here's what Samia doesn't seem to realize. You can't fool all the people all the time. Reports of her iron-fisted rule have already spread beyond Tanzania's borders. And when foreigners, activists, or even journalists from outside the country question what's happening inside, let's just say you don't want to find out what happens next. Boniface Mwangi, a well-known Kenyan activist, and Agatha Aduhaire, a Ugandan human rights lawyer, claimed they were sexually tortured by Tanzanian authorities after being detained while attending the trial of opposition leader Tundu Lissu. Their ordeal sent shockwaves across East Africa, exposing how far the regime is willing to go to silence scrutiny, even from outsiders.
They got me out. We were still handcuffed and blindfolded, and they told me to strip naked. And I stripped naked. When I stripped naked, they removed my handcuffs, and then I was grabbed by about 4 men, and they lifted me up so fast. Before they lifted me, actually, they put some gloves on my hands. Then they lifted me up. They lifted me up and tied me upside down. There's a photo I saw online about what they did to us. It's in my bag. We can distribute when I'm done talking. So we were put in an upside position where my legs were up like this, my body's up, I'm stuck naked. And then they started beating my feet. So they would beat me and massage my feet. Beat me and massage my feet. I was screaming so hard, I couldn't even, there was no tears coming out because of how painful it was. And one of them said, put his hand in his mouth. So they put my hand in my mouth and they would tell me, stop screaming, the kids are sleeping. And then to drown my screams, they opened the car because I could hear them, they were playing gospel music in the background.
Then there is Maria Sarungi, a fearless Tanzanian activist who has lived in Kenya for more than 4 years. Earlier this year, she was abducted in Nairobi by allegedly for outspoken criticism of Suluhu's government. She was only released after public outrage erupted online in both Kenya and Tanzania, forcing her accountability. Now, Tanzania headed into elections as the nation was sitting on the edge. Massive protests erupted across the country, led by opposition supporters boycotting the polls, calling them as a level of unrest and criminalized reform is extreme. In response, the government shut down the internet and blocked international media from covering the elections. A classic move straight from the government. So, as the world watches in silence, one question is, will Samia Suluhu Hassan crown herself president for another 5 years? Or will this be the end of independence and ceasing of the 65-year period? For now, as the Swahili say, letu jicho tu, ours is just to watch. Thank you for watching the video. Kindly support the channel by liking this video, subscribing to the channel, and sharing the video if you enjoyed. See you in the next one.